We are in the fall quarter of our Sunday school's lessons for the months of September, October, and November. We are now in unit number 2 for the month of October, entitled Out of Slavery to Nationhood. And we're looking at the children of Jacob, or the children of Israel, whom God has chosen, and their journey to Egypt, the story of Moses, to the journey of the exodus out of Egypt to the promised land of Canaan. Also included in this unit is the stories of the judges, Gideon, Saul, and David. Well, our lesson for today, our Sunday school lesson, is lesson number 6 for October 9th, 2022, Expressing Thankfulness. Our printed passage is Deuteronomy 32, verses 3 through 6, verses 10 through 14, and verse number 18. In our lesson today, the children of Israel have already been delivered from Egypt into bondage there for over 400 years. They have also spent some time of 40 years wandering in the wilderness on their way to the promised land. And when we arrive at the book of Deuteronomy, in Greek, Deuteronomy means the second law. But in Hebrew, which is the original language of the book of Deuteronomy, it literally means the sayings of. And these are the sayings of Moses. This is, in this book, the last sermon of Moses. The book of Deuteronomy stops with the ending of the book of Numbers. And also it stops at the ending of the book of Numbers and the beginning of the book of Joshua. It is an insert of this sermon that Moses gives to Israel as they stand on the banks of Moab, looking across the Jordan River to look into the promised land of Canaan. Here, Moses stops, and before they cross over, he gives them the sermon, and he expressed to them that he wanted them to remember the word of God. He tells them, remember, it was God and his grace that carried you on this journey. It was God who made and established you. Our text says that we need to know that salvation is of God and not some strange God, little g gods. So when you come to this place that God has promised, remember, it was because of him, not some of these idols, and that you should give thanks to God for his salvation. Now, Israel had a lot to thank God for in his saving power. And if we pause and stop, we have to also express thanks to God for salvation. Salvation that forgives us, salvation that saves us from an eternal hell, salvation that allows us to live with God forever. And when you thank God for salvation, you got to thank God for Jesus, through whom salvation came. Peace on earth, goodwill toward men. That's because the Son of God has been born.